Well, hello there, and welcome to Beards and Bangers. Welcome to another episode of Beards and Bangers, and today we're going to revisit one of the early cars that I had on when I started doing my YouTube channel, my MG ZT190 HUZZLY Bear. So HUZZLY's not had an awful lot of content because he's pretty much, he's a drivable car. There's not a lot to do to him other than kind of just minor fettling, but we'll grab the camera in a minute and have a good look around him because there's a few things that still need doing that we've discovered. When you drive a car regularly like this one, this one does get quite a few miles put on him. He's not my daily, but he's on a normal insurance policy, so I can kind of do as many miles as I want to in him per year. We know he needs some sort of paintwork, and that's going to gradually get done, but we're going to do a bit of some vanity things, do a few cosmetic-y bits, and I think it's about time this car actually had a bit of a series on the channel. So we're not going to have this series kind of coming out in 1 week. It's going to be done over the next few months, but this first episode we're just going to have a look round and see what is going to happen in the sort of short to medium term. And then I'm also going to start tackling one of the jobs, which is the nasty bloom on the paintwork on his roof. So let me grab the camera and we'll have a look at a job that I've already done but didn't video, and I'll also show you some of the other bits and bobs that do need doing as well. So yeah, I bought a few bits off Austin. As you know, Austin's had the same colour 190. So we've come to a deal with a few bits and bobs. First thing of which is going to be the bumper. So that's got like the headlight washer bumper. So that's going to go on at some point. We did the Xenons, you remember, earlier in the year, so that's an upgrade that I was really keen to get done, and that was done. Sorry, not Xenons, projectors, they're not Xenons. Wheels are fine, they can stay on there. Arch liners, so HUZZLY has got kind of Walter Mitty arch liner arrangement, so he's going to have arch liners front and back, which will be really good and just help protect that paintwork. The other thing he's missing is an under tray, so if you look underneath him, there's a bit of cabling hanging down. You can just see it there, sort of between the spotlight and the vent. There's a little bit of cabling there, so that's because there's nothing to fix into because there's no under tray. So that'll go on as well. Another bit that's going to happen that I'm really excited about are the mirrors. So he's going to get the earlier pre-project drive bullet style mirrors, so they're slightly narrower, so you lose a little bit of visibility, but they are really attractive. And the other thing which like the eagle-eyed amongst you may have spotted in the past is HUZZLY sits a little bit high at the front. So we think he's actually sitting on diesel springs. So of course diesel springs have got a much bigger resistance because it's a much heavier engine. The block on the M47 is cast iron, so you're talking 150 kilos plus extra on the front axle with the diesels. So the springs obviously have to be slightly more robust to cope with that. But of course, if you put them on a petrol where you've got the all aluminium KV6, he's going to sit a bit high. So it doesn't massively affect the handling. At high speed, you just feel a bit light. So yeah, so we're going to put the whole assembly from Guzzly into HUZZLY, and hopefully he'll sit a bit better at the front, and he'll just sort of lean slightly more further forward. And that's really it, I think. I'm not going to go for sunblinds. I say I'm not a fan. I wouldn't use a sunblind if I had them. If I had a car that happened to have one, fine, not an issue. Just spotted. One thing I must get on with doing is polishing off where I've debadged the car. Yeah, his rear bumper will need some work at some point as well, and yeah, that's what we're going to do with HUZZLY. So a few bits and bobs. Obviously the dash I'll show you in a sec. That's already been done, and then we'll get on with some work with the roof, because that's a job I can tackle straight away without assistance. Right, so one of the jobs we have done already is to change. I don't know how well you can see it, but HUZZLY's now got a black oak dash. Got a little job to do here, where there's obviously some kind of parrot cable or something like that attached to the car at some point. Hopefully that's picking up in the light. But yeah, that looks really nice. We'll get outside and have a proper look at it when we've done a few more jobs. Yeah, black oak dash, most painful bit actually with doing that was to change this bit. So you have to do that, you have to pull the gear knob off. And those of you who know will know, because getting a ZT's gear knob off is quite difficult and quite dangerous because it normally smacks you in the face. I managed to do it without that. But yeah, swap that over. And that's looking quite nice. So let's get on and do the roof. So that's what I want to look at next. So I don't know how well you can pick it up in this light, but yeah, it's got a bit of a bloom on the roof. Paint's getting a little bit thin there, so we'll go easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off half the roof just so we can do it before and after. And yeah, we'll start off with some clay. I'll actually start with some rapid detail. I did wash him yesterday, but he's a little bit dusty and dirty already because it's been wet. Of course it is. It's the summer holidays. It's bound to be wet. So I'm going to do 3 stages. So I'll grab the tripod and show you what I'm going to do. When I'm doing any kind of paint correction, what I like to do is mask off half the area that I'm going to work on. And that just, it's partially for personal satisfaction, but also for YouTube purposes to kind of show you guys a kind of before and after. So we'll just put a bit of masking tape centrally like that. Roughly centrally, probably not very well done. And what I'll do, I'm going to get some rapid detailer and just give the roof a bit of a clean up, just because I did wash him yesterday, but it's rained here overnight and this morning, so I just want to make sure that there's nothing untoward in the paintwork. And then I'm gonna just do a small area with clay to see how it does come out. I have clayed this roof before. So I'm not going to spend time doing the whole roof again, and then the next step will be a couple of detailing products. So let me grab those and show you what I'm going to do. So people often ask, what do I use? You know, especially at shows and sometimes in the comments as well and on Facebook messages. So tried quite a few rapid detailers, and the best one I've actually found, and this is actually thanks to Austin, is one of the cheaper ones. It's actually the Carplan Demon Shine rapid detailer, spray on shine. I always used to use just automatically go into Halfords or Euros or one of the local motor factors and just buy auto glim. But what I find with auto glim is it's ever so slightly greasy, or it leaves like a greasy smear. Maybe that's just because I don't look after my cars well enough, but that's just how it feels to me. But this stuff is just really, really easy. So I'm just going to spray. Another thing I use is these yellow microfibers. They're fairly large. They're from Costco. Obviously, you have to be a member of Costco. But yeah, you get a bag of, I don't know, 32 of these for about, I think about 11, 12 quid, which is really good value. And I do go through a lot of them. They are really handy. I've used them up here in the unit and also at home as well. So we'll just get a bit of rapid detailer. That's on the wrong setting. That's better. I want a fine mist rather than a squirt. So I'm just going to just quickly clean off the roof. Not too bad actually, but yeah, really nice rapid detail of this stuff. It works out. Often, you know, you don't have to spend a fortune to get a good detailing product, and I do like trying different things. Actually working through a Diamond Bright kind of sample kit at the moment, and that's proving interesting. Right, so there's our roof wiped off. I'm just going to get a bit of clay. I'm going to use Auto Finesse clay and their clay glide as well. We'll just do a sample area. I'm not going to do the whole thing necessarily. We'll see how it comes out, see how filthy it is. So let me grab some clay and we'll do that. Right, so with clay, just get it warm in your hand. I have shown this before, but if you're watching my channel for the first time or you haven't seen me using the clay bar, then it comes in a pack. You just cut a bit off with a clean knife. Make sure your hands are reasonably clean before you start, otherwise your clay will pick up all the dirt in your hands very effectively. Get it nice and soft. Obviously it's a lot easier when it's nice and warm. So this is the Auto Finesse stuff. This is their glide that comes with it. It's not the cheapest, but I just think it's the best kit. I'll just spin you around because I'm going to just do a little sample here on this part of the roof. So that is on, but it's not Oh, here it comes. There we are. So you just put a bit of the glide on. That just removes the tension from the paint. And the way I do it is I go in straight lines rather than circles. So just do a small square like that. So go one way and then go t'other way. And we'll just repeat. And if I show you the I don't know how well that shows up, but that's actually quite clean. So I'm not going to clay the rest of the roof. I'm going to just move straight onto the compound because there's no point wasting time just doing that. Just wipe off that excess. Microfiber towel is fine to do that. But yeah, there's barely any difference where I have clayed and where I haven't clayed. If you kind of rub your finger over the paint like that, you can normally tell. But if the paint feels rough, if it feels like whiskers, then you've got bits in your paint. And what the clay does, it just pulls those out of pulls the contaminants out of the paint that are really sort of ground into that clear coat, and leaves you with a nice smooth surface. And if you have got rough paintwork, the last thing you want to do is to get some compound, and we're going to use Maguire's compound, I'll grab that in a second and show you, is to start rubbing that into the paintwork, because it's not going to do your paintwork any good. So let's get the mop, or the random orbit polisher and some compound, and we'll start working on this part of the roof here. Right, so this is the compound I'm going to use, Maguire's. Not the cheapest stuff, but I just find it works really well. This pad is used, but it's perfectly fine. So what I do is first of all prime the mop. So it's just a not polythene. What do you call this stuff? Sponge pad, and then I'll just use an old gift card that's lying around just to smear that in. And what that does is it means that that's going to be plenty on there actually. It means that we know the whole of the pad is covered. That does need a bit, it's soaked in pretty quick. Right, so there's my pad primed. What is compound? Most of you will know, but it's basically like using very, very fine sandpaper. And you can get, if you're really into detailing, you can sort of go for 3M products and start getting different grades. A bit like you get different grits of sandpaper. I'm just going to stick to this. We'll keep it simple. I'm not a detailer by any stretch of the imagination. What I'll do is I'll just put some blobs of compound on the mop pad, and then we'll just flip the camera around and we'll start working this front corner of the roof where we started clay barring but didn't actually need to a moment ago. Not speaking very well today. Okay, so rather than just going straight in, I'll just dab some of the compound into this first section of roof that I'm going to work on. I've got it on a fairly low speed. This is old paint. We don't want to be going at high speed, creating a lot of heat and start scorching the paint, or going through the lacquer, through the colour coat into the primer, because that's not happy days. So I'm just going to start working through it, and then we'll do the rest on time lapse, but you'll get the idea. Okay, so make sure when you finish mopping, make sure you put your mop the right way so we don't scratch or get any grit in the in the pad, and then we're just going to polish. We're just going to rub this off straight away, just to see how we're doing. Obviously, I'm conscious you're going to scream at me. I haven't done this bit here where I've masked over where it's really white, the paint, but I'll deal with that separately. And just doing that bit of compounding. Oh wow, that's seriously good. Let me grab the camera. It's on a tripod, so it's a bit difficult, but that's already making a massive difference. So there's a nasty bloom on there, and that's really going. So we'll go over it again. We'll do a couple of passes and we'll do it on time lapse, but that really has worked already, so I'm really pleased with that. So I'll get this side of the car done, and then we'll polish it with some auto glim polish, and then show you how it looks half an hour. I'll probably have to pull the car out into the daylight to do that. I'll just pull the car out for a sec just so you can see the difference. So it's still not perfect, but it's a damn sight better than it was. Hopefully the camera really does pick that up. It's probably the best 50-50 I've done. Yeah, you can see the sort of bloom and obviously a bit of dust on there from the compound, but that really has transformed it. I'm really pleased with that. So I'll back the car back in, and I'll finish compounding this side, and just obviously be very careful with that sort of white spot there. And then we'll go over with some auto glim super resin polish, and then I'll show you how I seal the paintwork afterwards. It's all very well polishing it, but you've got to kind of give it some protection after that as well. So think back to the MGF flip that we did back in the spring. I foolishly thought I had more of this auto glim super resin polish. I've got a little bit in here, so hopefully it's going to be enough. The roof is coming up really nicely, so I'm going to go over it in polish. The little white spot just sort of above where the wing mirror is, the rearview mirror, sorry, is, it's not great, so it's going to have to be repainted at some point. But let's not forget, this is a 22-year-old car, so it's not going to be perfect unless we get it resprayed, which I'm not going to do yet because I want to keep it as it is for as long as possible. So I'll just do a bit of the polish. I won't do the whole thing, even on time lapse, because it's the same process. You can use the same pad. That's what I'm going to do. And then, yeah, which is this auto glim super resin, good stuff. And then I'll seal it with some wax after that. Right, so same as before, just dab it on, and then I'll do it fairly sparingly because I haven't got a massive amount of polish. Obviously the compound's done most of the work anyway, so we can be a little bit lighter with this anyway. Maybe saying, why are you worrying about the trim? Well, the polish will wash off, but also some bumper and trim gel will get that trim right. And I'm going to want to sort of treat these roof rail channels anyway, just to make them look a bit nicer. So I'll get on, do the rest of the car, and I'll then wax it, and we're done for today. Right, so as with the MGF that Austin and I flipped, the final piece with this always is to seal it, because you've obviously taken a layer of paint off the top. So I'm going to use this Meguiar's liquid wax, ultimate liquid wax. Comes with a little foam applicator, like so. Just get that sponge nice and soaked with it. And what we do is we just rub it in little circles like this. Hopefully you can see that. Probably can't see it that well. Yeah, I'll get you a bit closer. So just rub it into the paintwork that's obviously been prepped with the polish. and we leave it to sit for a little while and then just microfiber it off. So I'll go ahead and get this done, and then that's the roof done on the car, and that's the jobs on HUZZLY done for today. So just getting the last of the wax off, so it's just let it soak in for a minute or two. I'm just noticing this side has not turned out as well as the far side, and I've done nothing different. So maybe that side's been polished more in the past. You never know what's happened with a car that's had umpteen million owners. But one thing that is certain is it does look a million times better. So let's get it out in the light and have a little look at it. So there's the roof in the sunlight. It does look a lot better. It's not perfect, but it's better. That wax has, yeah, really give it a nice sheen. There's still a bit of bloom in it, but I think if you go too mad with compound, you're going to go through the clear coat and start causing problems. And if you go through the clear coat in one place, obviously water gets underneath it and starts getting between the paint and the lacquer, and you end up with lacquer peel, and we don't really want this on this car. So that's the roof done. There's the dash, probably slightly better daylight. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, and there we are. So HUZZLY's going to get some love, going to get some attention, going to get some content. I'm really pleased about that. It's been a little while, at least a year, if not longer, since this car's featured heavily on the channel. Obviously, a lot of you see him all the time because I drive to meet you in him. But if you want to see what's going to happen with the rest of the 190 work, then hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell notification as well. Hit the thumbs up, share with your friends, drop a comment down below, and I'll see you again very soon in the next episode of Beards and Bangers. Goodbye.